Hello, Bryony here again from Beauty from Ashes. This time I'm speaking from a very windy but very beautiful North Cornish coast. You can perhaps see the blue of the sea out of the window behind me on this side. Last time I posted, we were thinking about the word stand and how important it is to know before whom we stand. Because if we don't understand the character of God and who he is, we will never be able to have full confidence in him. We will never be able to worship him as we ought to. And continuing on in that idea of standing, I was taken to the story, and you will know it very well, I'm sure, of the time that the Israelites came out of Egypt. A story which is written into their history and repeated in scripture time and time again as being the most important point of their whole journey. They've come out of Egypt. Moses had led them. They've seen all the amazing plagues and sores and everything that came upon them at that time. They should have a pretty good idea of the God before whom they stand, that he is powerful, that he is more powerful than any of the gods of Egypt, and there is nothing that he cannot do, and that he loves his people. So perhaps with relief, they are now out of Egypt. But lo and behold, they are facing a sea which they must cross. It seems impossible. And to make it worse, from the back of them comes the report that the Egyptian army is after them. Oh my goodness, what an impossible situation. What is God doing, letting them come out and then presenting them with this situation? But Moses, thankfully, didn't do what many of us do, and perhaps what the children of Israel did, which was to panic and complain and shout and say why, and try to work it out for themselves. Perhaps they should have turned left, perhaps they should have gone another way. But Moses is quite clear. He knew what to do. He went straight and cried out to the Lord. And the Lord answered him with perhaps what is a very strange thing to say to start with because of their situation. He said, "Don't be afraid." So many times when angelic beings come and visit people on the earth, like Gabriel when he came to Mary and also then to Joseph, his first words, and I think they must be trained to say this, are, "Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid." But what did he say? Don't be afraid. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord, which he will perform for you today. Just as they were panicking, Moses did the right thing. He cried out in faith to God, knowing that God wouldn't have brought them this far had he not planned to take them on. He lifted his arms with his rod in his hand. The waters parted and the people were able to move through, disguised behind a cloud which separated them from the Egyptians. But it didn't stop the Egyptians following them, and that must have been quite fearful too. But as the last Israelite stepped onto the other side of the water, what should happen but the seas closed over again, and the Egyptians, which they had seen, they didn't see again. And that was part of what Moses was told. We often face those seemingly impossible situations. And depending how we see and know God, we react in different ways. probably firstly off with panic and fear. What's going to happen to me? How can I get out of this problem? But as we grow to know our God, we know that he hasn't brought us this far and left us. He has plans for us to prosper us and not to harm us, to give us hope and a future. All those miracles that they'd seen in Egypt, they were going to see another one, and indeed they did. And it was building their faith in their God. Next time you face a difficulty like this, think of the children of Israel, think of Moses, and think of the miracle that God did for them. God's still in the business of miracles and getting us through impossible situations. So don't panic. Stand and see the salvation of the Lord, which he will perform for you today. Bye for now. God bless you.